Wow, thank you. I'll have to make sure not to trip. My name is Holyn. I am a venture capitalist and a writer. And today I wanted to talk to you about modern muses. Just a little bit of some thinking about culture, technology, and I want to start with a story. Okay, we're going to take it way, way back to 2 centuries ago. In 1836, April 1836, a young woman named Helen Jewett was found murdered. She had her head bashed in, and her bed was set on fire. Pretty crazy, terrible scene. And she was found the next morning by her boss. This woman was a prostitute, and her lover, apparently, was the one who killed her. And the reason why I know this is because we got the blow by blow by blow and all the details from a young magazine called the New York Herald. The publisher realized that sensational crime got a lot of eyeballs, actually. And so he built his entire empire based on that. And that comes to our first muse, who is the public. Back in the day when the printing press basically advanced, we got the penny press, right? And that made news accessible to the middle class. You can buy a newspaper for $1, you can get all the tabloid gossip, your true crime, and that has led to what we now know as the modern media, the newspaper, magazine, etc. And one really keen thing that we learned from that era is that the common man would rather be entertained than edified. I'm gonna try to entertain you today, but I will be talking about a lot of nerdy stuff too, so bear with me. Because entertainment was central to American culture at the time, obviously the celebrity was the next muse. We got the newspaper, and then came the motion picture. And the motion picture, one really interesting thing, obviously, was silent films, and then we got sound added to it. And all of the celebrities at the time were people we aspired to, people that we wanted to read gossip about. And the really, really, really key takeaway from this era is how this led to mid-culture, or mid-cult, middle culture. You had artists like Andy Warhol, who obviously were, well, could be debated, were respected at the time, who made art accessible to the masses. Putting a Campbell chicken noodle soup can on canvas was controversial. But again, it made this thing that was lowbrow, more accessible, and gave it a lot more pizzazz to actually be considered art. And the same could be said for one of the greatest American fashion designers, Halston, who actually decided that he didn't just want to, do really fancy gowns for the celebrities. He wanted to have his stuff be in department stores. Again, kind of crazy. You're taking this thing that's very highbrow, something that's exclusive to, maybe the super wealthy of the, country, and making it accessible to the middle class. Again, mid-culture, middle culture, leading to the mainstream. And that leads us to our current mainstream, the creator. Our third muse, spurred by the internet and social media. This is one of my favorite creators, turned celebrity, turned mogul businesswoman. And going back to the penny press, creators are now their own publications, right? You can think of people on TikTok, people on Instagram making a few dollars for the content that they stream. You have everything from mommy bloggers to children who are 2 years old on social media, showing you everything about their life, making their life their entertainment, your entertainment. And really what has happened is we've had this democratization of culture. Anyone from, any class really can make entertainment. And the internet makes that very, very easy to do so. It's not production that you have to have an entire MGM behind you to be an entertainer, to eventually become a celebrity. And ultimately, what I really want to talk to you about today is the next phase of the Muse. Here, Kim Kardashian is saying, nobody wants to work hard these days. And even though we don't have production companies, it is still a lot of work to even make the best content on the internet. It takes a lot of hours, but we have this little thing called AI that is on the way, or is actually already here. And are these generative creations our next muse? In 2016, this scientist called Ian Goodfellow published this paper, 2014, published this paper that talked about GANs, and that introduced this idea of generative images. You can see a lot has happened since then. A couple months ago, somebody made this amazing image, generated this amazing image of the Pope wearing, allegedly, Balenciaga. He looks really good. I wish that purple was actually real so I can buy it. We have, somebody who made a generative video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. I would have animated that, but it's really freaky, so we skipped that part. And we've had stories that have been told about what this future could really look like. I recently saw Her, and Her is a movie about a guy who has an AI companion as a girlfriend, right? And some of you have seen, probably, all the AI dating apps that are out there. And so these generated muses are becoming very embedded in our lives and very quickly. On the other side of it is the entertainment aspect. Even though we're really early, LLMs exist, generative images exist, we're still at a place where we don't have generative video, at least not in a way that can mimic our real life. And so that GIF at the very top is what OpenAI recently shared with us about what it could possibly look like to generate an actual piece of footage using just a word prompt. And it's actually really, really good, right? It's supposed to be a scene in Lagos, Nigeria, and those people look like real people. That looks like Legos. But ultimately, we don't have high fidelity for generative video. We don't have video that has audio next to it. And the next step is, again, these bots as our muses. And so, what does that actually mean? AI, in my opinion, wants to be human. And what I mean by that is people want to use AI to tell stories. People want to use AI to improve their lives. And some people actually want to use AI to have companionship. And so what's happening is, or what's going to happen, is this idea of mid-culture becoming the main culture, and then us basically fighting against that. I've included a picture of Nara Smith. You guys might be familiar with her. She's a huge influencer on TikTok. And this woman is what some may call a trad wife. She's a stay-at-home, allegedly. She's a creator and a model, but some people like to ignore that fact. So anyway, she falls under this trad wife bucket. She stays at home and she cooks things from scratch. She made Oreos from scratch in one of her videos. And the beautiful thing about Nara and why she's so popular is because she focuses on craft, right? She focuses on craft. And ultimately, with AI, having these muses that are co-pilots to our creation is, again, going to create this very, very mainstream, average culture where the movies are going to look the same if they don't already. I think it's been 20 superhero movies in the last 5 years. And again, craft is going to be the way that we break out of that. Again, even though AI and these bots are our muses, one thing to know is how, I think Dee talked about convergence on the internet. I want to talk about convergence online and offline. AI having such a prevalent co-pilot presence in our lives is basically going to bend our reality, right? As if it isn't already. And so, again, online, we're generating these things, these images, these stories that may be true, may not be true. And offline will be similar. There's a company that just came out that's creating robots, right? And so this convergence of our reality being bent both online and offline, having a companion who is not real, and having this culture that's not only prevalent when you log onto something, but also when you're logged off as well. And so that leads us to a new human environment. A new human environment where there isn't really a start or an end to the internet. The internet is imbued in everything that we do, whether that is work, whether that is craft, whether that is, personal life, relationships of any kind. Ultimately, culture arises from the youth, and arises from perhaps different kinds of classes, niche groups, and with AI, there is no such origination. And so although we do have this technology that's going to be so prevalent in our lives, we still have to have those cultural artifacts and references that are key to continuing the advancement of technology. There would be no memes without cultural references and artifacts. There's a reason somebody generated that video of somebody making, of Will Smith eating pasta. He is a cultural reference that we can all galvanize around and actually see the possibility of this new technology that we have in our midst. At the end of the day, we all want to experience technology that replicates our own consciousness. And so as much as, these muses are, again, persisting and coming back in different forms, ultimately they will reflect our reality. And so AI, fabulous. Bots, great. But at the core of it will be these human experiences, human emotions that will drive a bulk of what's to come. Thank you.